نخاليا كوه نخاليا نخاليا كوه نخاليا
Hi, my name is Reagan Wytasalucy. I am the Agriculture Extension Agent for San Juan County in Utah with Utah State University. I got my education over at Utah State University in plant sciences. I've got a lot of experience in horticulture crops, so that includes fruit, vegetables, and I also studied Native American traditional food crops. That's largely where my focus is, and that's where my expertise is going to be served in the local communities here in the Four Corners area. Thank you.
Today we have some pruning tools for any kind of pruning on woody vegetation. Today we're going to be doing some fruit tree pruning, so we're going to do some discussion on some of the pruning tools that would be good in that type of setting. So we're going to start from the biggest and then we're going to go to the smallest. So we've got some loppers here. These are really good to use for reach and a little bit larger branching size with, you know, about 1 inch to 2 inch diameter is what you could use these on. Then we've got some pruning saws here. These are also really good for tight angles or to get larger branches that don't necessarily need a chainsaw, or if you want to readjust how your tree is growing. These are really good to use. They generally have a 2-tooth angle, so that way they can reach and get into that wood that's a little bit harder to cut into. The type of pruning tool that you're going to be using most often than not is your pruning clippers, and so these are for cutting branches that are maybe like 1/2 inch and smaller. They're really quick and easy to use, just to kind of go in and clip off what you need to on that new vegetation. So now we're going to kind of go into a little bit of how you kind of take care of the tools, what you want to watch out for when you're using pruning shears. We're going to talk about that they need to be very sharp. That way you can make the cleanest cuts. If you have tools that are dull, and we'll look at one here that's pretty dull, you can actually start damaging that wood, and you not only injure the wood, but you're opening up your pruning to pest damage, or even unnecessary or unwanted vegetative growth. That's usually called water sprouts, where you're going to have a lot of vigorous woody vegetation that's not necessarily going to produce fruit on your fruit tree, and your tree is going to expend a lot of energy into that. So that's something that you want to watch out for, is always keeping your tools sharp. The next thing that you want to watch out for is making sure that when you're cutting into any kind of tree, that if it's got a disease going on, or you see some kind of sap or gumming coming out of the tree, that you want to cut back and cut out that damaged wood. More likely than not, it's either a fungal or a bacterial disease that's setting into that branch. So in those cases, those diseases can be spread from one pruning cut to the next pruning cut. And so sanitation of your tools is very important. Usually you can use a diluted solution of bleach, 10% bleach water concentration to prune, or to kind of soak your tools in. And then after, just watch for rusting on that. Make sure that your tools are thoroughly dry before you put them back together, and then, you know, oil them and make sure that they're going to be good and ready to go for your next use. So when you're pruning, especially if you have a large orchard or you're seeing some disease set in, make sure that you have several pruning shears that you can use and sanitize at the same time, so you're kind of rotating them in your cuts.
Eya naha alya ko ho na khelyang 那哈呀高啊那黑亮啊，那黑呀高那哈那样啊，哎呀。